Unit 1, The Alphabet and Grammar of Geometry. Preview Video 1.0. Algebra Review. Variables. Students, this little music is going to be becoming a common cue. We always start class and homework with a short set of breathing exercises. You're going to sit tall. We inhale through the nose for a count of 3. Breath for a count of 3. Slowly exhale for a count of 5, like you're blowing out a birthday cake. Ready? Inhale. Hold your breath. Birthday candle. Close your eyes. Just sit there for 5 seconds. Students, you're looking at this packet. These are called your preview videos. They're going to constitute the bulk of your homework in this class. I'm going to go over just one time my expectations. Right here on the first page, I expect you to write down the date, time that you're watching this video, as well as your location. And hopefully there's a parent or guardian, teacher, librarian that at least partially witnesses you doing these videos, and they must sign them off. Follow the instructions given in the video. When I tell you to pause, actually pause and do your own work. You're going to work in pencil, and then I'd like you to grab that red pen that I provided for you, and I'd like you to correct your work in red pen. Only use your red pen for corrections. Please always watch and listen and take notes. Do not mindlessly copy. When finished, I'm going to set a timer for 1 minute. I'd like you to write just a short 3-bullet summary reflecting on the video content. There are 2 ways you can submit these videos. The first, and the one that's predominantly encouraged, is you simply physically return this packet and turn it into the turn-in tray inside the class. It'll be graded during class and returned back to you immediately. This is the preferred version. If for some reason you wish to load each of the pages, page 1, page 2, etc., on ClassKick, I've provided a ClassKick link on your homework. And if you feel better about loading the pages separately on ClassKick, you may pursue that using the email. Here on the right-hand side is the calendar for the entire unit all the way through September the 10th. How do I grade? You get 1 point just for getting the date, time, location, and a signature. 6 points for following along and completing the notes in detail. 2 points for showing your work in pencil when I tell you to stop, and then correcting in red pen. And then 1 point for writing a 3-bullet summary based a reflection on what you have learned. Let's get started on your first homework. So right here, date, time, and location. When I say location, I mean as specific as possible. At my desk, at my home, something like that. Date and time. Don't forget a parental sign-off or a teacher sign-off. Really important, folks. Please do not try to multitask while you're doing these preview videos. Turn off your Instagram, TikTok, Netflix, Amazon Prime, your cell phone, YouTube, any other multitasking potential distractions, and just focus on the task at hand. Tutoring. Students, word about tutoring. Go for tutoring before you think you need it. Open 1B. I'm available in room E111. After school, also E111. on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, not Wednesdays. Tuesday and Thursday, except collaboration days. And then A day lunches, I'll be on the east side of the gym at the green picnic tables so that I can tutor with mask off, since outside masks are optional. Here's a couple things I'd like you to do. I'd like you to go to my YouTube page, please. Just search Kelly Way YouTube. And I highly recommend that you subscribe to my video. Hi there. So subscribe to my YouTube, please, on my YouTube page. Next, you want to subscribe to my Remind 101 text. This is a blind texting system. We did this in class, but just in case you didn't have enough time, if you're an A-Day student, to the number 81010, text at A as in Apple, 77497. If you're a B-Day student, to 81010, text at E as in Edward, 8, B as in boy, K as in ketchup, 66. If you are turning in absent or late work, please make sure you put a Post-it with the date that you're turning it in. If you were absent, you put absent so that you get full credit. If it's at the date that you are absent, if it is late, you write late for half credit. Resources. My webpage is right here. So Unit 1, in class is where you, if you're ever absent, that's where you'll find the in-class material, the PDFs, and I usually record a video after a couple periods. And then your homework says the word homework according to the date. And there's the PDF of the preview videos if you've ever misplaced your packet, and then I will be loading them under the Watch This. Let's talk about algebra review. In geometry, there are 3 essential previous math skills you need to have mastered for success in this class. And they are computational math, which includes fractions, solving using variables, and then add, subtract, multiply, divide, radicals, also known as square roots. For this lesson, we're going to review the first 2 here. Quick distinction. When you're dealing with fractions, when they're on the same side, notice there is the equal sign. If you are multiplying or dividing fractions on the same side, you can cancel stuff out as long as we're dealing with multiplication or division. So because 4/6 and 9/12 is on the same side of the equal sign, I can do this. 4 goes in there once, 4 goes in there 3, and I can do this. 3 goes in there twice, 3 goes in there 3 times. And then when you multiply straight across. 1 times 3 is 3, straight across. 2 times 3 is 6. Always take your fractions to the lowest reduced form, which is 1/2. Now look at the difference here. When your fractions are on either side of an equal sign, you cannot cross cancel. Instead, you multiply. So watch carefully. 3 goes in there twice. 3 goes in, 3 times. 3 goes in here 4 times. What I just did was incorrect. You cannot cross-cancel across an equal sign. What I just did was incorrect. Instead, when you're crossing an equal sign, you're cross-multiplying. Watch what I'm doing. Notice I do not immediately multiply the 12 and the 9. Why? The key to multiplying is not multiplying. It's factoring. The key to multiplying is not multiplying. It's factoring. Let me show you what I mean. To solve for x here, I'm going to divide out the 4. Now that's 12 times 9, so which means I can factor this 4 into the 12 3 times. Therefore, x is 3 times 9, 27. The key to multiplying is not multiplying. It's factoring. Dividing. Remember, when you divide by a fraction, it is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. Now notice I'm on the same side of the equal sign here, which means I can cancel. Three goes in there 3 times, 3 goes in there 4 times. And then you multiply straight across. 1 times 4, 3 times 2. Always reduce if at all possible. Both of these are divisible by 2. Ta-da! Dealing with fractions. Adding and subtracting fractions. What you want to do is you want to look for what's called the lowest common denominator, better known as the LCD. Between 7 and 2, the lowest common denominator is 14. I'm going to show you a little trick. I'm going to put the 14 on the outside, and this is what I call arrow in, arrow out. Now, if you learned a different way, please, if it works, by all means use it. Watch carefully. 7 goes into 14 twice. 2 times 5 is 10. So this becomes 10 over 14. Plus arrow in, arrow out, arrow in, arrow out. 2 goes into 14 7 times. 7 times 1 is 7 over 14. Now I can add 17 over 14. You ask yourself, can you reduce? The answer is no. Most of the time, you're welcome to just leave it as an improper reduced fraction. Obviously, if it's a mixed number, 14 would go in there once with 3 left over, so it'd be 1 3/14. Let's try that again over here. We're looking for the lowest common denominator of 4 and 6, which is 12. Arrow in, arrow out. 4 goes into 12 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9 over 12. This is minus. Arrow in, arrow out. 6 goes into 12 twice. 2 times 4 is 8. And now 9 minus 8 is 1 over 12, and you're done. This is your first opportunity. You want to pause the video, try this on your own, and then restart. Pause the video. Welcome back, students. Let's see how you did. You're switching now to a red pen. If you get this correct, some sort of star, some sort of smiley, wow, Miss Way, I checked it, I was fabulous. If you would get it incorrect, just write yourself a note. What are you going to remember next time? Perfectly okay to get these wrong as long as you correct your work and write a note. So for this one, we're on the same side of the equal sign, so we can cancel. Straight across, 4/5. This one is cross multiply, 12x, going this way. If you wasted your time to multiply the 3 and the 36, stop it. The key to multiplying is not multiplying, it's factoring. And you should have gotten x equals 9. So dealing with fractions, dividing right here. First, we should have flipped it around. So 821 times 1464 equals, and reduce. That's 1 and 8. This way, reduce 2 and 3. Going straight across now, that's 3. Excuse me, not 3, that's 2. Over 3 times 8, which means I can reduce one more time, and it's 1/12. Your lowest common denominator, your LCD, would be 18. Arrow in, arrow out. That's a 2. 9 goes in there twice, so this is 10 over 18 minus 10/18 minus 9/18, 1/18. Again, if you got this correct, big star smiley. If you didn't get it correct, just write yourself a note. What are you going to remember next time in red pen? Let's talk about PEMDAS. Step number 1, solving for x. We deal with the parentheses. I like you to circle what's on the outside and draw distributive lines. Circle, draw distributive lines. Always grab what's on the outside of the parentheses and draw the distributive lines. That's very helpful. So there's our parentheses. There are no exponents. Now what we're going to do to solve is we're going to work our way here, collecting like terms. You always collect before you cancel. Collect before you cancel. So we're going to collect like terms on both sides separately. That's -1 plus 8, so that's going to be 7k. Notice I am physically underlining things of similar nature. 1 underline, 2 underline, you can use circles or boxes, but that's called physically collecting. That helps your brain not make mistakes. That's basically 24 minus 6, which is 18. There's nothing left to collect on the left. Nothing left to collect on the right. Now you can start canceling things. Get the variables on one side and the numbers on the other. So our k is going to equal 6. Then if you want to take the time, you can actually take that 6 and put it in here. That's going to be 30 plus 30. And you can see that it works and balances on both sides. So solving for a variable. Another thing you have to be able to do is isolate a variable, which means get a variable by itself. This usually happens when you have more than one kind of variable. For example, we have x and y here. And all we're going to do is isolate the y. Now, I have a hokey storyline here. It works for me. If this storyline doesn't work for you, just totally ignore it. Do whatever works. Your goal is to get y by itself. So here's the storyline. This is guy Y, and he has a date. They've gone out to a party, and that is his date, girl 12. And then we have another date here, girl X, and guy 4. Okay, for whatever reason, guy Y has a bad attitude. I don't like this party, the music's no fun, the food is passé, and guy Y is projecting bad vibes. I don't like this. So you ask yourself, who leaves first? Generally, mathematically, the date does not leave first. The date's like, oh, honey, please let's stay. I just did my hair. I got new shoes. So the date's going to try to stay. So instead, the other couple is going to be like, let's get out of this room. We don't want to see a couple have a meltdown. So we are moving. You will see in a minute why I brought the X forward. Okay, guy Y still has a bad attitude. I really don't like this place. Wine, whatever. So now the date, girl 12, says, I'm done with this guy. I am going to ditch him and go in the other room and have a good time. So watch carefully. We're dividing out, and girl 12 is going to individually go to each term and quote-unquote gossip about her bad date. Individually, each term. This is instead of this. Watch carefully. What I'm doing on the left is what I do not want you to do. Some of you have been allowed to do this, but it creates a significant number of errors. You may have been allowed to do this. You see what I just did? On the left, don't copy that. I do not want to see that. I want to see the individual term divided each up. So finally, bad attitude, Y is by himself, and we divide this out. And of course, that's going to be 1/3 X. We divide this out, and that is -3. Voila, guy Y is by himself. Sounds like that's what he wanted to begin with, and everybody else is on the other side. This page is on your own, friends. Switch to a pencil. You should be in pencil. Correct in red pen. Pause the video. Students, welcome back. You have now switched to a red pen. Let's correct your work. Let's take a look here. You should have distributed. Make sure you had circled distributed lines. And when you solve for X here, some of you might have gotten a little wonky here because you're like, what is 0 = 7 times X? Well, you ask yourself this, 7 times what is 0? And the correct answer is 0. And you know the easiest way to check your work, if you're not sure, that you just feel like bad vibes, you simply bring it up here and you plug in a 0 where all of these are, and you see if it works. So 7 times 0 is 0. This is basically 8 times 1, so that's going to be 8. And this is -8 times -1, which is also 8. So, yep, 0 works. Down here, your goal is to isolate Y, so we brought over the date first. The other couple, and then the date decides to ditch, and she gossips to every term separately, and then reduce. Y = 2/3 X minus 3. Students, what I'd like you to do is I'm going to set a timer for 1 minute. You don't have to take the whole 1 minute, but at least a minute. I'd like you to write 3 basic ideas. What are the 3 takeaways that you want to remember from this particular lesson? In your own words. 1 minute.